What is a jazz lineup? Traditionally, jazz originates from New Orleans, and in New Orleans, the traditional lineup was made up of a rhythm section and a front line. The front line is normally made up of a trumpet, clarinet, and a trombone. The trumpet will be playing the main lead melody. The trombone would be supporting the trumpet, and the clarinet might be playing a counter melody to what the trumpet player is playing. The rhythm section plays an accompanying role. So you have an instrument to keep time, which is usually the drums, a bass instrument, which in that sense used to be the tuba, and a chordal instrument, either the banjo, the guitar, or the piano. Moving on to modern jazz, we still have a lineup made up of a front line and a rhythm section, but we have new instruments being introduced. We have instruments being swapped and playing different roles. For instance, we have the introduction of the saxophone playing alongside the trumpet and also taking that lead role, playing the melody and playing improvisations and solos. The rhythm section also changed, for you had tuba being replaced by a double bass and be playing walking bass lines. The piano was still there, but it was more common than the guitar, I would say. And the drum set was still keeping time. As we move on to the electric period, we still have a front line and a rhythm section, but we have more instruments and things change slightly again. So in the front line, you still have your trumpets, your trombones, but you also have the introduction of instruments such as the soprano saxophone. In the rhythm section, instead of just piano and guitar, you're getting things such as the vibraphone, the Rhodes. You also have the introduction of the electric bass as opposed to an upright string bass. And the drum set is still there to keep time. Moving on to now, the definition of these instruments and their roles is not as defined, so things have slightly changed. At the moment, for example, in the London jazz scene, you have different instruments playing different roles. So the tuba might not just be playing a bass line. You now have instances where the tuba might be at the front playing a solo or playing the melody. You have instances where the saxophone, which is usually in the front line, might be playing a bass line and playing the role of a rhythm section instrument. This creates a whole new different sound. Within this, now you have more, not only do you have more instruments being introduced to jazz, you also have instruments playing different roles within jazz. And although we're still keeping to the jazz tradition, we're having a whole new sound being born. So moving on from New Orleans, where it all originated, all around the world you can see different jazz settings and different bands, jazz bands playing in different combinations. And I think that's what's making jazz stay alive, fresh and new.